Okay. Good morning, everybody.
Morning.
Kind of one of those meetings that we don't like having. When was the last time we had a meeting we didn't want to have? Don't say last month. But kind of in a very fluid situation as far as the country is concerned with the COVID-19 pandemic. You know, initially we weren't sure, what to expect. You've got media and politicians and all this stuff, but it's pretty real, isn't it? It's pretty real. We've seen some changes at AutoWorld since this has begun. What are some changes that we've seen?
No traffic.
No traffic. We're absolutely dead, aren't we?
Well,
So yesterday we had 4 customers on the sales side. I don't know how many were on the service side.
about 10
10. So
customers.
we're trying to plan for future success. Okay. These are the decisions that are difficult to do because we don't have any real accurate information right now. I know you guys have been listening, and you can't really, it's like you're shooting at a moving target. And for Dan and I, it's no different. You sit at home this weekend, you pray, you think, you sleep, you pray some more, and just try to find what's the best solution, hoping that it would just blow over. It does not appear that it's just going to blow over. So we have to be not only financially wise in our decisions, but also socially wise in our decisions. Go down Highway 501, what's the sign say?
Stay home.
Stay home.
Stay alive.
Stay alive. We have to do our part too, don't we? It's kind of hard to be stay at home and stay alive and support your family at the same time, isn't it? That's a reality. We realize that. But we also realize that when such a dramatic drop in potential customers, that it affects us financially too as a business. It affects all of us. So our goal is we want everybody to be here if we can, but we also want to have a business to come to. We also realize and we know that this is just a building. Without you guys, there is no AutoWorld, is it? Nobody shows up, there's no AutoWorld. It's just a building out in the middle of the country. So we have to Dan and I have to make decisions and steps to try to protect you guys so that way we can have a place to come back to. When I say this is uncharted territory, it is. No matter how old you are, there's no one alive that's been through or experienced, there's no book written on how to handle this, is it? Because if there was, guess who would have found it yesterday, the day before, the day before?
Me.
We'd have found it. Rhonda would have found it. Dan and I would have found it. Ben, you would have found it. Okay? So we have to formulate a plan moving forward. So what we've decided to do is in response to what the government is allowing us to do for you guys. This is called the Emergency Paid Leave Act of 2020. The way I read it, the way Dan reads it, the way we understand it is this. And I've got a copy of it for anybody that wants it. We'll make copies, okay? Is if you voluntarily quarantine yourself for at least 14 business days, you'll receive 2/3 of your income, up to $4,000. You can be out up to 3 months. There's still a cap of $4,000. That's if you voluntarily quarantine yourself. We have several employees that have already decided to do that. People that are a little bit older or have weakened immune systems or are susceptible to respiratory infections, they know that. They already said instantly, I'm going home. Will I have a job when I come back? So you got to do what you need to do. Now, the other thing it says is, they call that self-imposed quarantine. Then you have employer-imposed quarantine. And that's what this is about today. For those people that have decided not to quarantine themselves for whatever reasons, we have employer-imposed quarantine. And basically what that says is again, 14 days, working days off. I believe they have to be consecutive. As we understand it, it has to be consecutive. Because what's a person with quarantine if you go in for one day and come back the next? So I'm trying to use a little logic as we read through this. Again, navigating vague governmental documents leaves up to some interpretation on our side. It says you have to be working here for 30 days in order to qualify for that. There isn't anyone in this room that does not fall under that.
Except for Eric.
There's not anyone in this room that does not qualify. Eric is the only one in the company that's been here less than 30 days, which I think his 30 days would actually be this week. I have to look, but either way. Does anybody have any questions on or understanding that part there? Okay. So knowing that that's one of the options that the government has allowed us to partake in, that's what we are going to do as a company. Dan and I have met with the managers of each of the departments, and we're trying to formulate the best way to see what that looks like. For your protection, for the protection of the company. What it looks like is basically running a skeleton crew in shifts. Certain people have already volunteered, said, hey, I want to be the first shift out because I have X, Y, Z to do, this and that, and what the other. There won't be a choice. We have got to make changes. Some people will start that today. Others, it will begin Monday. Now, I personally tried to get on the Social Security website. It's through the Social Security Administration site, through ssa.gov, to try to apply myself, pretend that I've already been off 14 days. I didn't know. They already had a record of all the Social Security I've paid in for my life. I didn't even know they had it. Yeah.
You don't get it every year in the mail?
Well, I throw it away. I did not know. So my attempt was putting myself in your shoes, saying, okay, my 14 days are up. What do I need to do to receive reimbursement from the government? Since this was passed on the 13th, there hasn't been 14 days passed yet. So the paperwork and the forms are not available that I can find. I suspect that you guys will be able to do it either at the office or online. That's what I believe to be true. Many of you don't have computers or access to computers. We will help you do that, okay? Our job is to help you guys. So we will help you through that process. If it is available online, we will help you do it online. How long it takes to come back to you, I don't know. All that this document says that it was electronic funds transfer right to your checking account. And that it's tax-free. I thought that was interesting. Okay? So 14 business days, some will start today. Your managers will meet with you. Everyone else, the first wave will start Monday. It's not an easy decision. It's not going to be an easy time for anyone in this building, and I know it. I realize it. Dan realizes it. Rhonda realizes it. You look to the person to your left, they realize it too. Okay? Are there any questions about what we've gone over so far? I'm sure there'll be questions later throughout the day and as we go through this process. Again, we're doing our best to try to understand and know what the viable options are for you guys and for the business. Okay? Again, certain people have already volunteered. They'd rather start today, get my 14 days out of the way, because here's what I do know. As a business owner, for more than half my life, there will be a pent-up demand that will be unreal on the other side of this. People can't go a month without buying cars. They just can't do it. Not that I've ever seen. If anybody's seen anything different, let me know. The social responsible thing to do is to stay at home and let this thing pass. Trump, he's been on Twitter. I'm sure you guys hear some of that stuff, whether you like it or not. His goal is by Easter to have everything back up to normal. I also know that there are drugs that are readily available that combat this COVID-19, from, again, my reading and my understanding, they're very effective, like 97, 98% effective and readily available, not controlled by any other country but us. So I go into this very encouraged, knowing that the light at the end of the tunnel is not a train, okay? It's not a train, okay? Secondly, there's no questions about that. Again, the managers will meet with us. The service department, there's already a schedule that they've derived. We're on a buying moratorium for Daniel and Dino to make sure that, again, we're financially able to work through this. We did sell 2 cars yesterday, and 2 cars the day before, and 2 cars the day before, and so we're gonna try to be available, because there are customers that need cars, isn't it? They consider the service side absolutely essential, don't they? That's what they need it. There are certain employees that are absolutely essential, that they deem absolutely essential. Sales, not one of them. Many states have made it so that you cannot sell a car right now. I think 6 states, you cannot sell a car. Every state, you can repair a car. Okay? So we'll try to keep, for the people that have a total loss or a dire emergency where they have to buy a car, we're probably gonna keep 1 manager and 2 salespeople. That's it. That's all we need. So I adjust all that for just a minute. Mr. Eddie's been with us a long time, y'all. 10, 12 years.
2010.
Since 2010. Has anybody ever met his wife, Robin?
I did.
If you've been to the party, she came to the party this year.
She was there this year.
She came to the party this year. She's come several times. She passed away last night. Okay? She's having some heart problems. I don't know all the details, but you guys need to pray for Mr. Eddie and his family. Couldn't imagine. You know? On top of everything else, he's having to navigate those uncharted waters also. So where I look for solitude is in the Bible. Again, whether y'all believe or not, I don't know. But I'll share with you what I believe. So I look in Psalms, okay? Which is the songs written by David, many of which when he's in isolation by himself, trying to find himself. So a lot of things he says applies whether you're a believer in God or not. He says, when I'm afraid, I put my trust in you, in God. Whose word I praise, I trust in God. I shall not be afraid. What can flesh do to me? And a little bit later he says, I will not fear the terror of the night, nor the arrow that flies by day, nor the pestilence that stalks in the darkness, nor the destruction that wastes at noondays. 1,000 may fall at your side, and 10,000 at your right hand, but it will not come near you. You only look with your eyes to see the recompense of the wicked. All this is going to be for greater good. We just have to get to the other side, don't we? Okay? We just have to get to the other side. It won't be easy. It's not going to be fun. Nobody wants to do this, especially me, especially Dan. I know you guys either. Okay? Pray for the doctors that are working on patients. Pray for our country and normalcy. And pray for one another. We don't know what everyone else is going through, do we? We have no idea. But all we can do is stay positive, stay the course, and be strong for one another. Okay? Thank you guys for taking the time today. Okay?